Investigation team has been dispatched to probe the circumstances of this accident. For more on what this investigation will look like, let's bring in Bryce Fisher. He's a former aviation investigator with the Transportation Safety Board. Appreciate your time and thank you very much for joining us. Let me begin with this. I mean, one of the things that we've learned, and it's really, been only a day, less than a day since this happened, but how critical is it that we already know those flight data recorders have been recovered? How critical is that to the investigation?
Oh, absolutely critical. They'll be able to inform the investigators of what was happening with the aircraft and the flight control systems, the engine control systems, etc. Also, the cockpit voice recorders will let us know what the crew were actually dealing with.
And
So
in
it'll be very
terms
insightful.
of the yeah, and in terms of what we've learned about what happened and this going down, what we did know, or what we learned this morning, I guess, is that it's a fairly large debris field. How difficult and challenging is that part of the investigation in terms of the search and rescue?
It's going to be very difficult. It certainly suggests to me that the aircraft became uncontrollable, such that the aircraft hit the water at likely high velocity, which caused it basically to explode, if you will. And so the debris field there'll be small parts to find. It'll be difficult, very challenging to find all those parts.
And the Cyclone helicopter, this helicopter that was involved in this accident, has been in use in Canada by the Canadian military since 2015. It replaced the Sea Kings, but I gather it's a reworked version of a helicopter called S-92, which also
Right.
has a history of some trouble. In terms of the investigation, how much of the history of that, of any said given aircraft involved in an accident, will that be? How important is that to look at?
Oh, very important. I mean, certainly the military investigators will be looking at the investigation that was conducted by the Transportation Safety Board back in 2009 after the Cougar Sikorsky S-92 accident there, fatal accident. In that case, it was fundamentally the transmission had actually failed, which then the tail rotor failed and they lost control of the helicopter, became unrecoverable. They'll learn a lot from that. They'll also, if the military has data on failures of involved in his helicopter, they will certainly pore over that to look at the history of the aircraft and to see if it has repeated itself or if conditions that led up to certain other incidents before were at play in this particular accident as well.
So General Vance saying that this investigation will be similar to what a TSB investigation is. So, to that end, when you have one helicopter involved, but we have others, we have, I think, 16 other cyclones, and now they've been put on what's called operational pause. Does that seem, as a matter of course in terms of a probe like this?
It's yes, it does. It strikes me as that the military operate on at a different level, different standard, and it sounds very cautious to me that it would be probably the right thing to do is to invoke the cautionary principle and ground the fleet until the military gets answers to what were the causal contributing factors to this accident.
Okay, Bryce Fisher, former aviation investigator with the Transportation Safety Board. I appreciate your expertise on this. Thank you.